Baby's going to do what Bad Baby's gonna fucking do. And there's nothing you can do about it. She's gonna fucking win. Win, 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 win. The fuck you talking about?
I don't know who gassed these bitches up, but some need to be said. How this bitch think she ate? She just another bitch that I fed. Why you all in that man face? My pussy still on his breath.
So Bhad Bhabie gets straight to the meat of the issue, which is an academic topic near and dear to my heart, infidelity. Alabama allegedly had an affair with the father of Bhad Bhabie's baby. And what she's saying here is, you desire my mate, but I actually mated with him quite recently. The real pair bond is between me and him, and you're just this interloper who's not particularly relevant to the interaction. So she's saying there's money on this person's head, but nobody's dead. Apparently you put out a hit on somebody, but nothing actually happened. So perhaps your formidability signals are inauthentic.
Bitch keep talking like you hot. I have him laying at your spot. OG crashed out with the drum. I blame 182 shots.
Obviously a clever line. There are people who do more typical rap analysis who are going to cover that. So I'll let them cover it and we'll stick to the subject matters on which I am an expert.
You the cry baby, you calling Ye about the last disc that I dropped. You keep running back to your daddy, I don't know when I last seen my pops.
Basically, you're a human who relies on lots of other people, but I'm quite robust and independent, and I can do these things myself.
I just killed you on my third disc and my last one still hot. All the whips you seen in my last video, ain't none of them shit props, bitches.
She's like, I signaled resources in my last video, and just so you know, that signal was authentic, right? I had lots of cars in the video, and those cars were not rentals or props, right? They actually are my vehicles.
Scared. You posting up Big Mama like she with you, bitch, you weird. Miss Piggy, you...
So that's a little too far for me. She's making fun of her for being too big a fan of Big Lotto. When you attack one Lotto fan, you attack all of us, but I'll let her continue.
Bitch, you weird. Miss Piggy used to be fat before the Ozempic.
I'm stopping it quite frequently, but that is probably the most interesting line in the song. So she's saying, you used to be fat before Ozempic. And this is something that my friend Chris Williamson pointed out to me, which is that the signaling value of being thin has actually been diminished by Ozempic, because while there was a time when being thin might have communicated some information about your dietary habits, your exercise habits, your genetics, now it doesn't really convey that information necessarily. And what she's saying is, look, you have the signal, you are thin, but the things that signal normally signals, it doesn't signal those things in your case because you used Ozempic. So you are thin, but it's not because of any of those lifestyle factors or innate traits. It's because you took this injection. So she's essentially undermining the signal, or she's attempting to.
Piggy used to be fat before the Ozempic. Use a bop, 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 trying to use me for my name.
So she's saying, you're trying to use me for my name, I'm high status, you're low status. And then the bop thing is particularly interesting. This is a theme. I mean, in the last song, she also spoke at length about Alabama's alleged romantic history. And this is something that Dr. Tanya Reynolds told me is quite typical of women's mate competition. Women will often denigrate each other's looks and chastity, more so than men, when they are gossiping about each other or trying to spread negative information about each other. Now, why would this be? Well, a common idea is that it's actually downstream of mate preferences. So men, more than women, at least in our cultural context, generally care somewhat more about looks when dating and about chastity, right? How promiscuous a given partner is, with less promiscuous being preferred by most, right? And the idea here is that if you are trying to undermine someone else's mate value as a woman and you're attacking a woman, then a great way to do that would be you would want to attack them on mating relevant characteristics, right? Characteristics relevant to mate preferences. And so chastity is a great one to attack, as is looks. And now with looks, it's quite difficult to attack. We saw a little bit of this because if you look good, you look good. She's trying to undermine that with the Ozempic comment. But the chastity thing is almost impossible to defend. Because humans mate in private, if someone says that you mate with lots of individuals, it's almost impossible, or really is impossible, to prove that incorrect. And so that's one of the reasons this weapon is so favored, is because it's so efficient. It's so difficult to counter or block, because it's not the sort of thing where you could have evidence before or against it. And the idea here with all these attacks is that Bhad Bhabie is, hoping that in the future, people who want to be with Alabama will have these words in the back of their mind, essentially.
If I crash out, mama crash out too, we got the same DNA. You worry about baby killing this baby when that baby killing them babies. Guess you really ain't daddy, baby. I'ma show you how to be a lady's feet, bitch. I ain't tripping.
Difficult to follow. I'm vaguely aware that an abortion was insinuated there, and that goes on the theme of denigrating her chastity, saying that you get around.
If your foot out, surround yourself with blacks, but still ain't invited to the cookout. Crack a bitch. I ain't backing down from shit. I feel like Curtis Jackson. I gave a belt to ass and the whole world witnessed what happened. How you born rich and you acting ratchet, you moving backwards. How you got Atlanta accent, you fooling me, you from Calabasas. I'ma make sure this the last.
What she's trying to do with these lines by saying that she's not invited to the cookout, that she fakes her accent, that she grew up rich, is she's trying to say that you signal a suite of cultural traits that imply in-group membership, but in fact, you're a member of the out-group. So she's saying your in-group signaling is inauthentic. And the reason that this weapon is effective is that a lot of people have hostility towards out-groups. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but a lot of people do. And so for her to say, like, it attacks her authenticity for one, but it also says, hey, it paints a circle around her and says, hey, she's actually different from the group that she pretends to be in.
I'ma make sure this the last song you gon' make about me. Face to face, you can't do that with no makeup. AP bust all the way down your tongue.
So really interesting line there. Face to face, you can't do that with no makeup. Very similar to the Ozempic line. She's saying, look, you have the signal to being physically attractive, but the things that that signal normally signals, you don't have. So she's saying face to face with no makeup, you wouldn't be attractive, even if you're attractive with makeup.
All the way down, your time on Jacob. Every time you get a friend, you fuck they man, that's why they break up. I think this ass fat just like Ari, who gon' say something? You going hard to get a plaque, but still can't make one. When you see me, you gon' whoop me, bitch, where? Who the hell said that Bama do it better, bitch, where? Lying about me must be something in your teeth, bitch, where? I know that you a 304, not me, bitch, where? I swear to God, this whole delusional, you know that bitch weird. I done made a couple M's off OnlyFans right here. Ask Camilla, she'll tell you that this stupid bitch weird. Why does bitch keep my name in her mouth, bitch weird?
So at the end of the song there, we heard a lot of revision, a lot of the things that we've already heard Bhad Bhabie discuss in this song. But we also heard a couple of new themes. So she obviously brought up the inauthenticity again. She brought up the lack of chastity again. She tried to do not just a mate value denigration, but a kind of a friend value denigration, essentially saying, hey, be careful hanging out with her because she might try to mate with your man. She might try to be an interloper in that, or a mate poacher in that situation. And hopefully, she's hoping that friends will be cautious of forming coalitions with her because they're worried that she might mate poach their man or their mate. And she also signaled, and it's interesting in the chastity context, she also said, hey, I made a lot of money off of OnlyFans, and I have a physique that men find desirable. And the signal here is basically, I'm very high mate value and I have lots of resources. And she's really leveraging the physical desirability side of that equation. But I'll play it, but I think that's the end of the song.
You weird ass bitch.
Yeah, that's the end of the song. So it was interesting. We got to cover a lot of the themes that I find fun. I do feel for Alabama quite a bit. It's tough to be spoken of in this way. But I actually don't know who started the beef, and I also know that this is kind of part of rap music, is that they do this. But for us, as students of, human mating, it's a great opportunity to use it as a lens into women's verbal mate competition. A rap battle is just a verbal competition between humans, and in this case, it's a women's rap battle. So we get to see a lot of what we call female-female competition. So it was a fun one. Thanks for joining.